Deeply Awake Chats 2017. I'm not going to channel tonight. I don't feel it's appropriate. So we're just going to chat, but I really wasn't even going to do that, but I decided that the events have been so trippy and my awareness is so profound and changing, it's life-changing. And I reviewed the last tape I did, not really sure what I'd like and if I'd like it, and I'm just astounded. It really helped to listen to, at least for me. And as some of you know, I've been fiddling now with this idea of adopting new geometries, basically. What that really means, if I am to want to take on the astrological patterns that that were generated on the night that I had a very unusual experience, which leads me to the conclusion, and I've been led by my team to some profound realizations that, yeah, that's it's not that it's available. It's not that it's something that I get to choose or decide through conscious will. It's something that happened already. And so I went to an astrology site that allows me the ability to overlay horoscopes. I guess it's called Synastry. And I reviewed what the compatibility and the patterns were with real key players in my life, both with the old patterning and the new patterning, to get a feel if this is even real, you know. And I'll say that the only matches I have 100% compatibility for of all of these things that I looked at, and I didn't spend all day at it, but I did do my research. There were two that were 100% matches for compatibility, and that was my birth chart and Jesus, and my birth chart and the Son of Antares, this birth chart from April. All the rest of them were anywhere from 92% to 34%. And none of that surprised me. It didn't even surprise me when I saw how the compatibility went with each person before and after. That's entirely true. There were improvements in some relationships, and there were breaks in others, and there were constant battles and great passion and just tons of spiritual stuff going on in some, in many, in most, in all. So this was a really big thing, and part of this whole thing was just looking today and just getting a feel for this Pluto thing, trying to figure out what the heck this might mean. I haven't cracked it all the way, but this one site has a bunch of celebrities, and it said you can pick by a lot of different things, you know, and read about people, but you can also check for compatibility. And I pretty much just had to put the phone down and shake a little bit when I saw Jesus come up, because I stumbled on it, and it was the first time that I learned that you could do that on a website. And so I punched in my numbers, and of course he's my brother. But it's a little bit daunting. The whole thing's a bit daunting, you know. And then the Son of Antares being, you know, okay, well, if you really think it through, Scorpio rules Pluto, right? And Pluto is my ascendant. I mean, it's in Virgo, but whatever. Okay. The Son of Antares, heart of the Scorpion. The Scorpion is Scorpio. And then I thought, well, that's a really neat coincidence. And then I learned that the ascendant planet is called the ruler or the lord of your chart. And it just keeps going like that. Just these big bombs get dropped, boom, boom, boom. And so I'm driving around and I'm realizing that, let's just say in the past, because it's still happening. And I realize sometimes that it's the truth. I spend most of my reality way, way, way up there. A cup is not a cup. It never has been a cup. To me. And so, if that's the case, can you imagine what it's like when I'm in a relationship with someone? And I'm reading more about Pluto and about all this and how the other really factors in very greatly to this whole Plutonic thing. And this idea of just putting oneself inside another and not having an identity. Well, that's a lie, right? That's about as fucking weird as you can get. But, I mean, I am another you, right? So, maybe it's our metrics that are fucked up. So I'm driving around thinking, it's as true about a thumbprint as it is about an astrological sign. No two are the same. I mean, even if you're a twin, unless you're being delivered cesarean section and you both breathe at the same time or whatever the metric is nowadays, you have a different time of birth. Therefore, you have a different geometry. Pure and simple. Yeah, it might be off by a degree, but it's still going to be different. And at the very least, your signature will have your name and not theirs. Because the signature is also the name. And so, by that time I was going by a different name, and in April of 2012, but I was just sort of resigned to just living while dead, basically, because I was dead. I didn't have friends. I torched every I just wasn't interested. I was basically a hermit, and I was miserable, and I was getting by and shuffling along, and anybody on the outside would say that I was doing pretty good. But I wasn't. And that's just me, okay? So I guess part of this is what I'm realizing is, I've come on like a, I don't know, fucking freight train most of the time. And because a cup is not a cup, a presidency is not a presidency, and a president is not a president. There's a lot more going on than a simple cult of personality or whatever. And I think if anybody takes 5 minutes to listen, they'll understand that I can see patterns and I can see a lot. I just can see a lot. And so, I can see the meanings behind the slightest gesture. And I can see the motivation behind what is said and what is left unsaid. I can see. And the thing is that no one let me be that. No one wanted me to be that. And I was kind of an unwelcome guest. And I didn't know how to manage it because I didn't believe it was true. I put down my intuitions where anyone else was involved and did not trust myself to be a good interpreter of what another person is doing. I didn't understand. So was it about self? Was it about other? All I know is that as I've thought about my life, as I've been driving today, all I can see is a sun, a diagram. It's really weird. A sun just looking at something. It's just... And living in opposition to everything and in argument to everything and having Eros and Thanatos, sex and love, and death and destruction. What comes from that? Where did those things come from? You can call it God or creator or just some bigger mystery. That's where I've been dwelling. I wasn't comfortable with the answers that I had been given. So I went on a quest. And now, I don't know. I mean, I really like the idea of being a Taurus. I feel so much better. And when I was chanting last night with my friend, it was the weirdest thing. I had eyeballs, like I was given the directive to, and it was really a magical night. And I told my story to a human being, and as I knew of what I knew. And I was like really 11:11. I was really Twitter-pated. Is it okay to do this? Is it okay? And how do I do it? And can I do it? And all this stuff. And then I get in front of that cajones, and then I see a column, and I see all these people behind. And they're all just so thrilled to see these columns of light. Us. And just how loved we are and how supported we are. And it was just so lovely. And I realized that they were witnessing me just do a shift. And they were standing witness for it. And that everything was okay. And then I felt my body, and it felt really different. And it felt kind of green. It felt kind of good. And I realized, oh my goodness, if I really do get to believe in this earth sign stuff, because I've got a lot of earth in my chart, but never connected with anything but ether. I mean, yeah, I can talk to the trees and stuff, but all that happened in 12, man. So it's freaky. All I'm happy with is knowing that these two charts are compatible. And then I had a really beautiful talk with my son tonight, and in amongst all of it, I mentioned, that I feel more like a Taurus than a Pisces, and I'm seeing this change, and I'm wondering if it's okay with him. And he said, "Are you talking trans la 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 or whatever it is? What are you talking about, Sam? Trans zodiac or whatever?" He said, "Yeah, it's just the young ones, but they're picking out their own birthday. They want to change their birthday. They want to change their zodiac. That's retarded. You're a Pisces. Say you have Taurus influences, do that, but you're a Pisces." And I asked him, why does that bother you so much? And it's like, you make a choice when you come here. It's not something that's thrown on you. You make a choice. Own it. Be proud of it. Live it. And fine, if you want to take on other influences, fine, but this kid, God. I'm really just floored by what we shared. And there's so much happening in my life that is just simply private. And you've seen me parade my guilt and my shame and my fear and my resolution of insecurities. You've seen all that. You've seen my anger at this consciousness that allows us to think that we don't deserve any better than to be connected with people who treat us like shit, are mean to us, demean us, put us down. I see that, and it just makes me so upset. And the sexual stuff too, the predatory stuff, and the not being honest, and using people as objects, and all that stuff. It's just like, I have to say what I think, but now that I have, I'm very pleased that I did what I did. I feel a guilt for a separation and how I handled it, because I was loved, and I reacted poorly, but I was also not loved, and I reacted to that very well. And so these conflicted things, that I have literally fucking dangled on a cross for, I have, in some of these relationships that I've had, it's been so intense. Just the self-negation, and then feeling another person who I'm working with and feeling their initial insult, and I can't even describe what kind of things I've gone through energetically in these travels of mine, and what I come away with, really, in the end of it, I'm glad I did the work, and I'm glad energetically the work is done. I don't do any energetic work without soulic permission, and there are such great benefits that, and if I'm driven to do something, to understand something, or to, I don't know, atone for something, or to let myself off the hook about something, or to just see something. For me, if I'm feeling it, I can't heal it, but I can't heal it until I felt it. Once that is complete, which is for me symphonic, then I have a chance to put everything together, and it is completely uncharged. And it goes beyond having that heart squeeze of compassion. It's then simply looking at things rationally and lovingly. And before, it was very hard for me to have any kind of perspective. I've talked so much about perspective and also proportion. And so all I can do, I guess, at this point is to say, hey, it is what it is. I reacted the way I reacted. And I'm actually justified in being a fucking raging bitch, and really being a vindictive, horrible, nasty person. And, I have that option every single time someone misbehaves, in my opinion. And they have that option every single time I misbehave, in their opinion. I like being around people who aren't looking for a fight. And I like people around who roll the way I roll. And that is to allow me to speak and to be myself. And they are unable to dislike themselves too much or hate themselves. And it's a really unusual experience being around people who like themselves. Not just love. I mean, that adoration is important, but I mean approve of, like, don't have an argument with, don't feel ashamed about, and really just want to create more of that because they feel good, so they want to feel good more. And it's been astounding to meet more and more people like that. And in this Buddhist community, I really love that everyone talks. It's not a secret. Everybody has, as part of their practice and study, the understanding that there's suffering and there are setbacks and disappointments and calamities and all kinds of things, but it's not about focusing on that. And so part of my feeling sort of coming home more and more into just perhaps a meld. You think? Is this sense of learning how to be a good person. There's a tape that was done in May of 16, and I'm in a high channel, and they report what it's like to be around me, and that what they see is this, I think, just beautiful innocent who just keeps saying, I just want to be a good person. I just want to be a good person. I just want to be a good person. That's somebody who's been a pretty bad person and been around people who are pretty bad. I look at my chart and I wonder. I don't have to wonder. I look at my peccadillos. I look at what I find super hot, though taboo. And finally I looked at sexuality in a brand new way, and I realized something that I'm still walking around with the physical ramifications. I realized what had happened on the highway, and physically I had a response to that, and I'm still healing that. It's still uncomfortable, and it is a reminder that not only this lifetime but in others, the sexuality was disordered due to events, and there were fundamental misunderstandings that occurred in a split second, and these alter things and create potentials that wouldn't exist. It wouldn't exist otherwise. And I got real twisty, I know, in past lives with religion, because it's such a freaking turn on, and it's so super dark, and the stuff that I just reeled off to Boron when I was sitting in the room with him, it was all related to the Roman Catholic Church and depravity. So God only knows what I carry, but I do know that I carry an Akash that is biologic, that is how many? 1, 2, 3 generations deep for marital, it was basically imprisonment, captivity, sadism to its extreme. And so I've carried some of that with me, and believe me, I'm more than willing to disperse it. It's a lot to have to contend with. And it's only now that I can really kind of be more at peace with just how much I was dealing with, and how it was probably very difficult for some people to get close to me. Most. Oh. And I began to finally, in about 2014, want to and feel I could actually meaningfully connect with other human beings. And I didn't do so good, but I tried. And I had many lovely relationships, and I fell in love and got my heart broken, all kinds of cool stuff. And did it all alone, all myself. Even now, the whole thing was done alone, which is about as fucked up as you can get. So I want to leave that behind, this monadic focus that didn't have to do with how you get along in the real world. It had everything to do with why I'm here, why you're here, and what it means. And the last 5 years of output is my gift of what I've learned, basically. And so I walk into this eclipse knowing a few things, and I'm getting more information every day. And anymore, it's just really just such a velvety experience that I'm not really sure I'll want to interrupt it until afterwards. Oh boy, it's really acting up. All I want to say is that I don't really care. And anybody else's opinion about this, I'm not interested. I'm not. I'm interested in your feedback and your ideas and your experiences and your thoughts and what it sparks in you. But I really, if you're going to criticize it, then that tells me you're not paying attention. Because as far as I'm concerned, the people who are in, this is how I feel, the people who are in are celebrating full on. And there's people who are out who did not want to know anything about any of this, felt excluded, and they knew that something was going on that was big, but I couldn't explain it really to them. And now I'm really relieved because I'm connecting with a lot of people who I hadn't been able to connect with because I was so abstracted. I was doing different stuff. And those who were doing work hung out. And everybody did their work, and I did my work for them. Come on. This is a two-way street, baby. Holy shit. What I've given away. Oh, boy. So, come on. We each get something. But, of course, I'm doing mine still in relative isolation. But that keeps getting broken in the most delicious ways. And I'm really gratified. It's really great. Because I thought, if I'm not in, like, some sort of soulic whirlwind romance, that all is lost, because that's what it's all about, is to, to just do it. And I think that's what you're supposed to do here. You kind of come down and say, yeah, well, I'll be seeing you. Does that mean there's only one? Well, in my opinion, in my experience, yeah, there's only one. But I didn't come down alone. I came down here with a whole bunch of friends, more than willing to meet me wherever I am. And thus far, it's been they've been more than willing to meet me at the level of basic, either aggressor or predator or acolyte or critic, or it's like that. It's kind of weird. Friend at times, but always with something that's not quite right. And then I met people who are happy with themselves, and they like life, and they know how to live it, so that they are comfortable, and they have pleasure, and they are happy. They're just happy. And it's not that vacuous, let's just put a lid on this and pretend we're happy. Nope. Because it's active. It's active. It's not like I have to protect against this happiness. I have to protect it and fight everybody. It's not that. But it's active. It is certainly not passive. It has to do with people who I notice who are really happy and who generate happiness in others and kind of sense of calm and peace. They're happy with themselves. They're contented with themselves, and they're improving themselves. Always improving themselves and their environment. Always making it prettier or happier or more comfortable or more convenient. But it's not because they think they're a piece of shit and this little doodad, this little fix is going to make it better. It's not like that. And it's really great to be around those people. And and so it's really been fun, and I want to be one of those people. And the group I hang out with and want to know more of, the whole point is to just be happy in this life. To deal with your sufferings. So I'm thinking at the Buddhist thing, well, okay, but what if you got Pluto in retrograde? What if it's all about all this other stuff? What then? Is this social engineering? Are you trying to fuck with me? Are you trying to take away my shadow? Huh? So that's part of me that's thinking, as the Buddhists are saying, hey. And then they mention suffering. And then the Nichiren people mention how, the first guy was evading getting beheaded, and the second guy rose it from the dead, from atomic dust. And then, I don't think it was the third guy got kicked out, because he said, hey, we shouldn't do this priest thing. We should just have everybody have their own Gohonzon and be their own Buddha. And everybody said, that's not gonna do. What about job security? And so they kicked him out. And he founded SGI. It's like, I really dig that, because they understand struggle. They understand overcoming. And they understand strength of character. They understand integrity. And they call it faith. I call it intention. Faith. Well, I think that's an obfuscated word. Let's own it, shall we? It's intention. If I intend something, that's not wishing for it. It's not hoping for it. And it's not vision questing for it. It's intending it. How do you get there? You have to know what you want. You have to know it's going to be good for you. You have to insist upon it. You have to believe it's the right thing. How do you get there? Well, that's the work. What is an intuition? What is a fear? What is somebody else's insecurity that I'm thinking is mine? What's what? What's in the past if I'm still dying over it every day? What's in the future if I can never see it and I have proof it may be taken away from me and it could actually be a lie? And then the question of why is it that people smile at me and I can hear them hissing? Or being really harsh and all I can feel from them is love. What the hell? In all my life, I'll be talking to someone and what they're saying isn't matching what they're thinking and how they feel, but I'm supposed to believe what they're saying to me, and I have to behave as if that's real. It was a lot. And I think that it's more than reasonable to say that I have simply earned something else. That Son of Antares thing happened in 2012, so that means I was 51. It's 17 now and I'm 56. So that's a 6 year and a year of change and new beginnings, that's for sure. Boy oh boy. My 51st year. So it has been a while since all that happened. And now I'm in an 11 year, a year of illumination. a year of divinity that is next level, let's say. It's a good number for all of us, right? The 1111 light workers. And next year's a 12 year. And I know there's continuity. I remember that I saw this one thing where there's an eclipse and there's a structure. And then after the eclipse, it's like the structure gets lifted up, turned slightly, and put down again. That's the action I kept seeing with the eclipse. And then I thought about the sun signs and thought, oh, well, that makes sense. But I really think that at this point it's more of a detail and more of it can kind of fade into the background as something that I'm puzzling out. But I think that since millennials are talking about it, these kids are, oh, yeah, I'm in a female body. I think not. I'm male. I'm trans. And you can call me Joe. And, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get surgery, but call me Joe. I can't tell you that it's happening a lot with young people. And some of them are choosing their own sun signs, their own birth signs, their own natal charts. Hey, if that's your intention, intending it makes it so. And you only have to do that a few times in your life to summon that much power and to declare something. Intend it and declare. And when you hit that pitch, it's done. Do you have to go back and worry about it? Well, I would do that sometimes. I was better at not doing that when I had instructors. But this was a time of deep examination and obviously of leaving some things behind. And it really is for me that just the conflicts, the constant conflicts, and this opposition, and the arguing that always go on in my head, and all the extra stuff. Well, it's great to have all the extra stuff, but then for me it turned into this carnival of everybody's hateful. No. Like, very few people are hateful. Do you notice that? Yeah, they make the news. They're not around a lot. But I tended to have run-ins with a lot of different people. And I know that's... So what I'm understanding in the cardinal end was they were telling me about the fingerprints, the astrology signs, and then they said, okay, well, I'm now being able to see physically that there are potentials that are open with one sun sign, one natal chart, and the potentials are different with another natal chart with different geometries. Things in one that are obsessions are in another chart things that would never cross their mind or would be identified as something that would be kind of harmful to engage in, so it probably shouldn't be done. Okay? I have always felt afflicted, like I have to apologize for myself, knowing that I carry something that people find sometimes, well, not repugnant, they just always find it very disturbing. And those who are not disturbed is like, oh my God, really? And then those who love it, what? And the further I go into whatever arena I go into, if the arms are open, it clearly, after the level of perhaps self-imposed isolation, it's a wonderland. But honey, with a with a Taurus sun and Venus and the moon conjoined, love takes on a different meaning and purpose, in that loving relationships can be the things I saw in the sex positive and polyamory communities and resonated with so much. Just that of open, honest communication, being direct, being loving. But it's not possible to be loving if I'm convinced that I might be hurt. And I lived in a world where I saw threat up into I was doing battle with energetic entities in my youth. So that was a very tricky place to be. I mean, it's not just that I have psychological things about black and white. It's not like that. You got to understand. And you don't have to believe it, but it's take it to the bank. Why would I repeat a lie for a lifetime? It's nuts. I find these things fascinating and weird and kind of out of the ordinary, so they catch my eye. And if I'm not reporting them accurately every single time, that's a problem. Factoring in my dyslexia and my tendency to get a little fuzzy. But what I'm saying is that, I can't be held to every detail every time, because that's not in my nature. But there are things that happened when I was 7 that I remember that are so vivid, and I know are supposed to go here. And these things became bigger and bigger and bigger, and it became the way that I navigated. Not with I was very mental. Obviously, air is very little represented in my birth chart. Very mental, but etherically mental. Not dealing with, please, just take a listen. You know. So, I want to move away from apologetics. I want to move away from justifying and perhaps more elementary explanations. And so some of the things that I want to do when I get back, I'm planning on I'm currently planning for surgery, and we have some things coming up, and I don't know if it's going to be appropriate to schedule groups. I want very much to have groups in my home, because from there people will want to talk with the teachers individually or the group, and I can be of assistance that way. And I do long to be of assistance, but the service thing is a little less intense, and it's not my responsibility. My responsibility is here at home with my body, with my mind and heart and soul, with my son, and managing our relationship, not managing his psyche, managing our relationship. And that means managing myself in relation to him. Big lesson, learned late. But I'm learned. I'm a learned one. So, I'm not talking myself out of a new geometry. I'm just saying that there's a lot to consider, and there's a lot to celebrate. And I've been moved more than once to tears, simply with gratitude, with thankfulness for being here, for being part of it, for playing this part of it, for doing as I did, for listening so clearly, and obeying, knowing who and what mattered in my life, why I was here. It steadied me and it helped me. And I've hurt people, and I've wrecked people, and I've healed people, and I've done my best. And I'm looking forward to more and more completion. And like I said, a lot of the stuff just not resonating anymore. Having moved on to much, much happier climes. We're getting there. So I'm also wanting to just give this to you, Because if you're here at 44:49, then you know what time is up. You know that this is a big deal. That the eclipse is a huge opportunity for everyone, not only spiritually and solically, but magnetically and biochemically. And it's all a mystery, but the last time that I went through this, it was just me who had this, May 25th, and then after that I'm not here, because I couldn't see past it. It was like a white wall. I couldn't go past that date. And it was freaky deaky, and I thought I was going to die, and I was all freaked out. But with this, I keep remembering, oh yeah, there's Christmas. Oh yeah, I got a birthday coming up. And it's just really nice. It's not the end of the world every time. And I didn't ever walk into those triggers like that because I was disappointed. 12 of 94 at sunset. Devote 2 years of my life and a whole lot of effort to get with the teachers, understand that stuff. We did the ascension, and at the end of it they said, nope, there wasn't enough. We're just going to have to... Well, obviously there wasn't enough. It wasn't the teachers reporting it. By the time we met in that little living room, they were long gone. There's always been enough. It just wasn't time yet. And all we were doing was moving potentials. We didn't think we were doing it so we could turn into light or anything. And I'm not walking into this thing with that selfish desire. It's inconsequential. I'm not looking for a light show. I get to be with my family, and I will be in high meditation from the time that sun hits Oregon until it's done in North Carolina. And I will be very plain with everyone who comes along. It's just going to be like that. And once it's complete, then I want to get a burger. And then I want to go home. And I want somebody else driving. And until then, I'm not unplugging. It's my job to be here. It's my job to record this. It's my job. It's important. Because if I'm doing this life and death review and I have loved ones in my life knowing that they're dying, well then you probably feel that way too. Just like I was feeling during this corridor. It was intense. And I am very well aware I walk into this eclipse with an exit strategy. And part of this eclipse's power will be in removing that exit strategy from my biology. Actually, there's a couple. One's a booby trap. So, there's a lot that I'm going to bring and alter consciously. Or at least that will be my intention. But really, for me, this will be different. Usually with these events, it's a no-brainer. If I'm aware of it and I'm leading up to it, I don't do ritual, and sometimes I sleep through it. Not this one. Mostly because I get to have the physical lift. That will confirm to me it's real. And it's, I know I'm getting gifts. And I know you are too. So my countenance will continue to change as my awareness continues to change. I am of the belief that my geometry changed already. And it's my consciousness, it's my awareness that is affecting much of this, and it's really like a snowball. It's really... intense is hackneyed. It's amazing. I don't know. Thank you.